Okay, good morning class. We are going to start building our coil pot. And as you can see, I have some clay that I have wedged, and I have a bat. These round things here are bats, just boards meant to carry on your clay. I have some slip and a needle tool, and I have this part of my template, okay? This part we'll use later, so don't get rid of it. And I recommend putting, if you can see that, my name is on mine. Both of them, so if I should drop it in the classroom, you could return it to me, and I would do the same for you. Okay, so I've got a clay cutter, and I'm just cutting off a small piece of clay, and just like when we made the pinch pots, I am going to start with a small pinch pot. So just make it into a sphere. If you have any wrinkles in your clay, smooth those out with your fingers. And this is going to be the base of your pot. So I'm going to put it on this bat once I get it started, okay? I also have to be conscious of the size, and I don't want it too thick. Remember that golden rule of ceramics where you don't want it any thicker than your thumb. So this time we're not whacking it on our hands like we did with the shell. Just hold it in your hand, start at the bottom, and work your way up, going for about 1/2 inch thickness. You want your top part, remember to keep it in the beginning, but as you get near the end and you get your thickness nice and even, you can start making a flat base because you want your pot to sit nice and flat. And then you can kind of start bringing out this lip area of your piece so that you have a smooth place to attach. I'm just kind of going to give it a little whack. Okay, and then I want to kind of think about if this is wide open. Yeah, that looks like about the right size. Here, I'll show you. I was kind of examining it for myself. It could be slightly wider, so I could kind of push it out a little more, but I'm more worried about it being too big than too little. Remember, the more you stretch it, the more kind of cracking you're going to get as you're putting pressure on that clay. Okay, I think that looks like a good base to begin with. Okay, now I have to start rolling coils. Okay, and as I put the coils on the pot, I'm going to want them to slowly start going out, then back in, then back out. And I'm going to keep this template near me to just kind of compare it to my clay. So I need the wedge board to roll on. I want to set my bat aside, and I'm going to just grab a chunk of clay. Okay, and I grab, amount that's comfortable to fit my fist, and I kind of squeeze it a bit to start making it cylindrical to begin with. Put it down on my wedge board, and I start rolling it. Notice I'm using my whole hand to roll it. I can use both my whole hands to roll it. Okay, and you would never want to go thinner than your end of your needle tool here. If you get too thin, it makes it really hard to build any height on these. All right, this looks like a pretty good coil to me. If I compare it to this, it's slightly bigger, which is fine. I like it a little bigger personally myself for my coil, okay? So now I need to start putting it on top of my pinch pot. Now I might cut off the end here because it's not quite as pretty. We're just going to do this one row at a time. It is possible that you could slant it and go up. And if you want to give that a try, you can. Personally, I have more success if I just go one coil at a time. So this is my first coil. I'm just going to set that back in my clay. Okay. Now the thing that I need to do is to slip and score this first coil on. every day when you come in, I want you to slip and score the first coil of the day on. And after that, you're going to do something called sewing, where you're just going to smooth the coils together really well. And you can do that without the slipping and scoring because your clay has the same consistency of wetness. If it didn't have the same consistency of wetness, like it had sat out for a day, then you would definitely want to, instead of slip and score, you would, or instead of sewing, you would want to slip and score it together. Okay, so add a little slip to that. Now sometimes your slip gets separated in this. Sometimes you might want to give it a little stir up because the top of this is very watery, as you can see, and I really want to have less water in my slip. So if that is the case, you could put your top on really tight. You could try shaking it, see if that resolves the problem. And it looks much better, okay? If that doesn't help, there are some forks over by the sink that you could use to get it back together as well, because you don't want to have really watery slip for this. Put my first coil on, kind of give it a little press into that pot, and then I can start blending it together. I just kind of use my finger just to bring it down, and then you kind of blend it together just like we did with our shells. I want to start smoothing it, okay? So just a little bit, either down or up, it doesn't matter which. I'll let you decide. Sometimes you might want to go both ways. Depends on if one's bigger than the other. You might want to bring the bigger one into the smaller one, depending on how you want your piece to grow. Notice my hand is inside supporting. I'm just going to smooth. Now I did that on the outside, now I have to do it on the inside. And if it's not perfect right away, that's okay. We will work on making it perfect later. You'll have a little time to do that. Sometimes it works to do a little bit more smoothing after it's a little drier, because it's a little wet right now because of the slip. It's not being my friend. So I think I'll just go with that for now, and then I'll smooth it out a bit more later. Okay, so now I'm going to put this back on my bat. You can't see it in the camera, but it's right here. Put that back on my bat, and I'm going to roll my next coil. So what happens if your coil gets a little flat and it's kind of like chunk, 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 chunk? You might have pressed a little hard, or it might not have been very round to begin with. You can just kind of pinch it back into shape and then just start rolling again. Okay, so one thing I like to avoid is also, like, where I join the coils together is right here. I can kind of see it. I want to kind of avoid putting the same joint there. Okay, so I'm just going to put this on top, put it on my bat, and I'm just going to smooth it. Now don't do a lot of tipping back of this. If you want to get some height on this so that you're not leaning over and having to look like a banding wheel, or we have these wooden spools that we use as banding wheels. I think I'm going to grab the wooden spool because we have a lot more of these, and then I can show you how to use them. So there's, if you look, they have screws on top, some that stick up a little farther, and then they've got flatter screws on the bottom. So I like to use the bottom. A little wobbly, but that's okay. I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit now since I'm up a little higher so you can see what I'm doing. All right, now I'm going to just smooth together. Notice I did not slip and score this time. I'm sewing the coils together because we've got the same consistency of moisture. I should be okay as long as I do a really good job of sewing it together on both sides. So first you want to kind of smush, and then you want to smooth. And you want to do that on the inside and the outside. And don't wait 5 coils high to do this. I would do this as you go with every coil, because when you wait, sometimes things don't go together where you thought they would, and you end up having wasted your time and having to re-roll those coils. All right, so now I'm gonna do the inside. So just kind of, again, smush and then smooth. So I just smooth it by kind of rubbing it with my thumb here. Okay, let's compare it to our template now. I've gotten 2 layers on and it's starting to go out, and that looks about right for my template. Okay, so I want to keep rolling coils, keep adding them. Today I don't have to slip and score. Tomorrow I will show you what to do when you come in, and it's a day later. Now, to put my clay away today, I need 2, count them, 1, 2 bags. Add this in. Okay, notice I'm taking it off the bat and I'm putting it in the bag, and I put it back on top of that. And then my clay goes in a separate bag. Okay, I don't want to put them in the same bag because that will cause my coil pot to possibly get damaged. Okay, and this is what I'm going to put on my shelf. Okay, they can be on the bat, but inside bags, not just on the bat, inside a bag, because that's going to put extra air in your bag, which could potentially cause your pot to get dried out too fast. Okay, you're going to put the banding wheel away, the wedge board away. You're going to put your cover tightly back on your slip, put your needle tool away, and clean up your table. And don't forget to hold on to these pieces. Okay, if you don't have a good place to hold on to them, I will have a folder in class that you can leave them with me and I'll take them out. Okay, have a good day.